BBC Coventry and Warwickshire. Now, the future of Warwick District Council and their plans for a brand new building in Leamington Spa. The government today has intervened in a row over the council's new plans for its headquarters. It wants to build effectively a new housing estate on the land, put some nice new shiny apartments in there, and why wouldn't you? You know, it's a wonderful vantage point, wonderful location near Riverside. Questions have been raised about whether enough affordable housing is going to be put in there. And now the government's housing minister, Sajid Javid, has put the plans on indefinite hold so that he can review them. Matt Weston is the Labour MP for Warwick and Leamington, says that it's his letter that's raised those concerns with Mr Javid. Matt, afternoon to you.
Hi, Phil.
Now, there'll be some people that goes, congratulations, a great political victory by you to get one up on the local council, but it's a bit more than that, isn't it?
I don't view it like that at all, actually, and it's very important that people understand that this is nothing about politics. This is really simple, and I think a lot of people, the residents, the businesses, we have 3,000 people signed already the petition. They have profound concerns about this, and they see it as a flawed project, and particularly in the light of what's happened in Northamptonshire.
And we've seen what's happened there with the whole council financially being really brought into question there, and that's certainly, you know, not on the cards here, but there's big question marks over exactly who this development's aimed at. And whilst, you know, there's always a legitimate call for affordable housing, what's wrong with creating some aspirational homes? There's a cash-strapped council in need of extra funds. If you can put a couple of 600 grand apartments in there, coin it in and use that money for services, well, good for them.
Well, I don't, that's not the way it should happen. And I think you have to recognise that the District Council is the housing authority, the local housing authority. They have a responsibility to be delivering housing. And there's a desperate need for social council and affordable housing in Warwick and Leamington, as there is a large parts of the country. Now, what they've decided to do is not provide any on that side, and we can't afford to create ghettos in our towns and cities. We must ensure, and this is part of the policy that came out from the government in 2010 to 15, is to provide such housing across all sites. And this policy of the council is the council's own policy, which is to provide 40%. So they're ignoring their own policy on that site, and that's very important.
This news out today, barely a week after Councillor Mobbs, the leader of Warwick District Council, attended that. I mean, we reported on an open public meeting to discuss the new District Council offices. Do you feel as though he's been listening to local people enough when it comes to these plans?
Well, just to be clear there, Phil, I did ask for there to be a public meeting for Councillor Mobbs to attend, along with council officers. I appreciate it was fairly short notice, but it is important that officers and elected councillors appreciate the strength of feeling and listen to businesses and residents' concerns about this. And so far, they have failed to do that. I think it's really important, it is in the public interest, that they do attend a public forum, a meeting in the town hall to hear the concerns, to hear the questions raised by businesses. And just to underline that, Phil, you know, the closure of that car park might seem a bit parochial, but that will lead to a loss of 36% of off-street car parking, which will have a massive effect on the viability of town centre businesses. So businesses are up in arms about this proposal because they see it as a further nail in the coffin of our town centres. And we have such a great town centre. Leamington is well regarded. It's much visited by many people from Coventry come shopping there. And this will be a desperate thing where we'll lose that car parking for at least 20 months.
Okay. Let me just read you a response we've got from Warwick District Council Chief Executive Chris Elliott has issued this statement. He said, this is not a significant development. It does not represent a change to the call-in request already received by the Council. The Secretary of State's Department received this request to consider a call-in of the planning decisions for Covent Garden Garden and Riverside House applications. They immediately contacted us at Warwick District Council to advise that no formal planning consent was to be issued until a decision on their calling request was made. The council has agreed to this request. The Secretary of State is yet to decide on the merits of the calling request he has received. So basically they're saying no biggie. It's a call-in from the Secretary of State, and they don't appear too unruffled by that at this stage yet anyway, Matt.
Well, I think that it's understandable that the council would put out such a statement. The reality is that ministers are now going to look closely at this. They are going to review all the documents that have been sent to them, but I am sure they will want to look at the viability assessment surrounding this, and the viability assessment is this critical part where the public have not got access to it. I've not got access to it, so I don't know the numbers, and that will show why it is that the council is saying they can only build private housing. Now, they're obviously paying through the odds, the developer, which is co-owned by the council. It's a special vehicle that's been created. And our view is that they should not be having to sell that site for such a high amount of money. The only reason they're doing is because it's predicated, it's based on them having to build new offices for themselves, when there are many other options available. We have a perfectly good town hall. There's office space at Warwickshire County Council.
Indeed.
And in the current climate, as I say, Northamptonshire has gone bankrupt. Barnet and Surrey are now viewed as probably going bankrupt, and there are 10 others. So the government is seriously concerned about this, and that is why government ministers are going to be looking very, very closely at this indeed. So
Matt
it
Weston,
is significant.
Got to leave it there. Matt Weston, the MP for Warwick and Leamington.